finish my coffee. Fine, let's go adventuring.
You, darling, it's so good to see you. And things of that nature. I mean, you're never really sure how you want to greet people. What if you have a really bad day? Like, what do you want? I mean, things of that nature. I don't want to come off like, I don't know, a famous puppet that's really crabby. But I do know that there's a lot of things out there to see and explore. And yes, to reminisce, because I'm not going to lie to you. Somebody very close to me who I've known my whole entire life, okay, my sister, she says she doesn't get into minutia bullshit. And I told her, well, I'm really good at minutia bullshit. So what are you going to do with my stuff? Ignore it, pretend I don't exist. Oh, wait, you've already done that. And then there's the contention of the noise you hear in the background. I mean, seriously, it's my dog. And he likes things that are loud, especially when I'm ignoring him. Who wants to meet my dog, Fang? Come here. Nope, not interested. Come here. Go on. So, this is Fang. He's not happy about being recently groomed, but summer in Louisiana, and Fang is a lot of fun. Sometimes. Except when he's making, look at the camera, look at the camera. Oh, there you go. Good. You could take direction. And he is my pride and joy, as long as he's not being a scene stealer. Well, we tried. And nice seeing you. Now go make tons of noise. Like I said, this is basically just a practice for me to see what I like, what I don't like, and how I can improve upon it. But you got to start somewhere. And in life, you have to start somewhere. And that's the thing. I haven't been around, this rotating sphere for as long as I have. And not picked up a few little trinkets, like loud dogs. But I have spent the last 6 months learning to relax. Sort of. And he'll be back, don't worry. And a lot of times when I'm like talking, it may sound like I'm reading something, but I can promise you this much. No. I kind of just go with the flow. I'm not really interested in writing a script because I don't think that's honest. And I don't think that I'm, being sincere. Now, I don't mind if people, tell me, wait, you may have gotten that point wrong. I don't think it needs a full-blown attack. You got it wrong. There's a nice way to do things, I think. At least I tried to teach my kids that. And for the record, my kids are grown and gone. Except for my dog. Now, he has some really amazing predecessors in his life, poor Fang. And 2 of them have held my heart for a very long time. And Spike, my schnauzer that I got around my 40th birthday, he lived to be 14 and a half. And such a smart dog. If he got groomed, he didn't speak to me for 3 weeks. I would get this. You were matted, you were fuzzy, you rolled around in the dirt. These things happen. Nope. And I have witnesses to this. I can bring them in if you want, but if you own a dog, you know they're more human-like than humans. But what's the most important thing? What is really the most important thing? Isn't it just, how we got here? My dad, by trade, was a history teacher. He also worked in pupil personnel for the Cleveland Board of Education. I'm from Cleveland. I don't live there. I live in Louisiana, Baton Rouge. And if you know me, and everybody should have a dog. But again, if you know me, then you know that, let's not scare people away. But, sometimes that minutia is nostalgia. And I was lucky I had really, really pretty good parents. I mean, I miss them. They're both gone. And, they were really good grandparents. I was like, you like them better? Of course I do. My mother and my grandmother, Nana and my mom, were 100% Sicilian. And basically, if you think about it, my mother was Marie from Everybody Loves Raymond, and my grandmother was Sophia from The Golden Girls. So trust me when I tell you, our family was designed to be a sitcom. Yes, yes, we were. And the other part of it is that I think that is really amazing is that sometimes it's just nice to walk down memory lane every once in a while. And if my dad were here, he would say, well, what did you learn? What did you do? Did you like it? If you fell flat on your face, my dad would say, well, again, what did you learn? And if you didn't answer, he said, okay, I'm going to repeat the question. Do you need me to simplify it? No, I got it the first time, Dad. All right, Elizabeth, what did you learn? If I had put more effort into it, it wouldn't have been this bad. Probably so. So what do you think you need to do now? Move on? No. Retrace your steps, see what you missed, and put a little more effort into it. I realize that some of those readings that you have to do for English class are not your cup of tea, but you still have to do them. Or you can talk to your mother. Nope, Dad, I'm on my way. Okay, gotta go. And that was a pretty good threat because Mom, she just yelled the whole entire time. Whether she read the book or not, she didn't care. She was like, you're going to do it, or you can spend your Saturday in the confessional. And I'll make sure Father makes you wash some pews. No, I mean, he didn't. Well, yeah, he did. But, okay, I'm going to stop on that one. We're going to move on to another subject. And I have grown children. Nothing can make you feel more fragile than when your kids think you don't understand. I'm sorry, but I'm showing up today to practice this. I don't know if I'm going to publish it. I don't know if I'm going to put it out there, but I have no makeup. My hair's a mess, and I'm in my pajamas. So it's Sunday, and it's the one day that I can do almost whatever I want. And yes, I have grandchildren. And I now see why my mom favored the grandkids over her own kids. I can see that, yeah. Grandkids are a lot more fun. You can give them back. You don't have to keep them. I just thought you might be interested in that little tidbit. Now, because I am a history teacher, because I'm changing the subject again, because I truly enjoy doing that to people, it's very simple. It's really simple. I know a lot of useless stuff. I could probably win Jeopardy, and my mom used to call my dad the world's biggest storehouse of useless information. And she would look over at me, and you're the second. I'll take that as a compliment. And she would simply say, why? It's boring to you, but it's really fascinating to Dad and I. In this 100 years of Route 66, I can honestly tell you that I tried years and years and years ago, Dad, I'm always seeing this stuff on Route 66. What happened to it? And he goes, it's not there. I said, that's it? You're a history teacher. He goes, Bethy, it's one of those long, long, long conversations. Now, when I'm talking to you like this, there's a couple things you need to know in parentheses that, well, I'm either called Elizabeth by my family or Bethy. There's really no in between. Elizabeth usually means I'm in big trouble. Bethy usually means pleasant conversation. And if anybody calls me Beth, please, for the love of God, don't make it sound like blech or rhymes with death. And so, getting back to the story, I wanted to see Route 66. I was curious about Route 66. I kept seeing all these horrible stories when I was a kid about Route 66. And I said, well, what happened to it? My dad said, you really want to know? I'd really like to see it. It can't be completely gone. I mean, don't people still live there? Not many. And I said, well, I mean, come on, Dad, tell me what happened. He goes, I won't tell you what happened. There's a library right down the street. Get on your bike and go look it up. And then we'll talk about it. And if you do a well enough job, maybe we'll consider a trip to Route 66. I have a lot of useless information about Route 66. One of them starts in 1919 by Dwight D. Eisenhower himself, because he was I think he was the CEO of the supply chain. Route 66 was actually created as a military road for supplies, and that it would eventually take you to where the supplies need to go to be exported to where the troops were. And it came through right after the end of World War I. Eisenhower never liked Route 66. It was dangerous, it was falling apart, and they basically rode on the side of a cliff. And if you could see the old film footage, I haven't learned how to drop things in, but I am working on it. But if you can see the footage and you can take a look at, you'll see the hazardous conditions in which the military tried to get supplies across the United States. And he never forgot that. And as he went up and above the call of duty, and he went on to be the commander of the Allied forces in the European theater or Eastern theater. I'm not sure. I don't remember which one they called it, but he went, and as they got closer and closer into Germany, and the amount of pressure in order for D-Day to work, it really had to work. It was the last hope of the Allies to stop the Nazi troops. So, fortunately enough, and if you watch the movie Pressure, which if you are a World War II historian, watch it and you can pigeonhole whatever you want into it, because isn't that why we throw opinions out there? Isn't that what a movie is? It's based on a true story. Doesn't mean that it's all a true story. But think about it. I mean, Eisenhower just couldn't get over the Autobahn. He would look at it and look at it, and he's like, this is incredible. It was efficient. It was fast. There was no speed limit. Now, somewhere along the line, when after the war and after Eisenhower did a few, like he was president of Colombia and things like that, he ran for president of the United States. Actually, he was brought back in to the military. I don't know if people realize, but when you're an officer, you can always be called back, even if you do retire. So one of the things that is kind of interesting is that Eisenhower was then the head of NATO. Not sure what it was called beforehand, but that's basically what it was. And then he decided to run for president. Well, upon becoming president, he really understood something. Route 66 was still the military supply highway. After all that time, over basically 30-some years, and nothing had been done. And the infrastructure of the United States was still a very slow pace. I mean, certain things are perishable, and there are certain things that the East Coast can't get during the winter seasons that you may still be able to get on the West Coast based on weather. So how do you get that supply chain going? How do you get that from one source to another? Well, that's where his love of the Audubon came in. I believe it was I-40 that was first because of the fact that it ran parallel basically to Route 66, but it moved everything further away, and it created a faster clip. There were no towns that you had to stop in. There was no stop signs, no traffic lights, nothing of that. And most of all, it was far safer. The one thing that I think people might want to be interested in, maybe not. It's just, I don't know. Think of what I'm telling you as word vomit. Go ahead. Because the history to most people is wah, 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 wah. And I get that. But everybody's running around doing Route 66. Shouldn't you kind of know why it was decommissioned? Slowly but surely, because of the fact that, Eisenhower introduced I-40 and it became much faster, then it, basically led to 80 and 90 and, 10. Most people forget about I-10. I can't. I live in southern Louisiana, and I-10 and I-12 converge in Baton Rouge. But it takes you across the country, the lower half, and it's just, everything was like that. So if it ends in 0, it's basically designed to go across the country. If it ends in a 5, it's basically to go up. So head north or head south. But there's still so much out there on Route 66. And while I'm not going to go this year, my ambition is to go next year. Maybe I won't see all the fun photo ops, but personally, I think they should leave them up. People never gave up who lived on Route 66. They didn't. And I think what resurrected a lot of feelings was cars. That was based on what happened to Route 66. And I mean, once upon a time, there was television shows. I think it was the gas station, Phillips 66, and things like that. There was a lot of stuff. And personally, it's just kind of neat because who doesn't love neon lights? I'm just saying. I'm putting it out there, and I may appreciate all the things that Eisenhower has done, whether he was commander-in-chief or general or whatever it was he was doing, even as president. And I think that's really interesting. I just kind of hold it against him that because he thought professionally about Route 66 and didn't think about, everyone. One of the best lines, I think, in a Michael Conley, book with Bosch is either nobody counts or everybody counts. And I might be saying that backwards. But I think that's, it's true. We've come such a long way to not come such a long way. And why isn't it okay to enjoy some of the nostalgia things? I love atomic mid-century modern. And so, I mean, there's a YouTuber out there, and I enjoy when he was doing the whole thing about his house. I thought it was amazing when he remodeled it and created his own masterpiece. And there's a lot of things out there in YouTube. So if you're not really tuning into YouTube, I think most people, whenever they're doing a DIY project, let's check on YouTube. Well, yeah, but there's a lot of interesting stories out there that may change your mind about the standard vacation, or go see that, unique museum that you always wanted to go visit. Not everybody likes history. I know. But history isn't just dates. It gives you markers. Just like in 1919, when future President Eisenhower said, this is never going to work as a military supply route. Think about it. And, I mean, you're just thinking about it. What do you have to lose? There's a lot of things out there. There's a lot of stories out there. You have a story. I have a story. Like I was saying, you have a story. I have a story. Everybody has a story. And some of those are pretty good. Yeah, I think there's a lot of sad stories out there. I think there's a lot of horrific stories. But in the end, we all have those sad moments. And sometimes memories stick with us for a good reason. And even if it's sad, it's there because there's something in it that's good. Good about you, rising above, and seeing a whole lot of different things. Like I said, I absolutely love Dwight D. Eisenhower, and he killed Route 66. When I found that out, I was like, oh, what a disappointment. But then again, I know that I can drive to Cleveland, and it's not going to be as fast as flying. That made no sense, did it? No. Not a good connection. But then again, hey, who knows? But as long as you're happy, find something that makes you happy. And I know that I've recently gotten into things that do make you happy, like miniatures and putting together impossible models that constantly spend time making you put together a lot of tiny little pieces. What can de-stress your life than a 3D puzzle? Well, anyway, I hope all of you have a great day. Thanks for tuning into this practice. I feel real confident that it's still a work in progress. But as long as you're out there, have a good one. And remember, tomorrow's Monday. And if you ever get stuck, just do what I do. Just give people the best advice you can. Never pet a buffalo. And remember, raccoons hate cauliflower. See you later.
Hey, Scooter. What's with the dislike of the veggie there?
Sorry, Bob. I just can't eat anything that thinks it's a pizza.
It's just cauliflower.
Exactly my point.